part 2 of Jamaica Vacation Travel Tips, and we're going to answer the most common questions about laws related to the consumption of cannabis in Jamaica and cover a lot of other important things you should know before you go. In part 1 of Jamaica Travel Tips, we covered 27 questions related to currency, things to bring, when to come, how to get around the island, and all aspects of safety in Jamaica. If you haven't watched that video yet, please check it out. I'll leave the link in the description for you. But now, let's begin with question 28. Is cannabis legal in Jamaica? In general, as you probably know, the total legalized movement in the world is having an effect on every country now, and Jamaica is not an exception. Cannabis is known as GANJA in Jamaica. It was decriminalized on the 15th of April 2015. However, people still get confused as to what it actually means. The reason for the confusion is the way the law is written. So let me just sum up first, and then you can read the law using the link in the description. It is legal for each household in Jamaica to grow up to 5 ganja plants on their premises, and you will see some attraction sites will grow them for tourists to take pictures with the plants. Anyone can possess and smoke 2 ounces of ganja or less, either if you're a local or a tourist. Technically, it's still viewed as a petty offense, but the reality is, the police is not going to stop you. But what do they do? Well, then you'll have to pay a fine of $3.50 US. Yeah, that's the fine. The other thing you might want to know is that none of these limitations apply to Rastafari. The Jamaican government recognized the right of Rastafari to use ganja for sacramental purposes, which allows them to legally possess, smoke and grow as much ganja as they need for themselves. It is also legal to smoke cannabis in Jamaica if you have a prescription from a registered medical doctor to use ganja for medical or therapeutic purposes, in which case you would also be allowed to have more than 2 ounces. So the bottom line, yes, it is legal to possess, grow or smoke ganja in Jamaica for medical, therapeutic or spiritual purposes. By law, it is illegal to use ganja for recreational activities, but if you have 2 ounces or less, you will not be arrested and the fine is insignificant. The reality is, you will find that in touristic places, some people will offer ganja to you in the street. However, it is actually illegal to buy it, unless you buy it from a place that has a license. Such place is known as a herb house. For example, this is Kaya Herb House close to Ocho Rios. This is Apican in the center of Montego Bay.
What is it? Apican.
Apican. And what is it, like a smoking house or medical marijuana?
Medical marijuana for persons who are in need or for persons who are looking for an upliftment. So we have sativas, indicas,
and another one right next door by the sea called Lounge 2727 or Island Strains. These are just a few first ones that got a license to sell cannabis for medical and therapeutic purposes. But in the last few years, more and more herb houses are popping up all around Jamaica. Not as many as in Canada, of course, but still. The price of cannabis in an official herb house in Jamaica starts from $10 US for this amount, which is 3.5 grams. Alternatively, tourists can make a voluntary donation to Rastafari community and get medical herbs from them for free. The problem is, there is a stereotype that people have about weed, thinking that everyone's smoking weed in Jamaica. There is statistics that shows annual consumption of cannabis by country, and there is statistics that shows the adult lifetime consumption of cannabis by country. And in both of these cases, some of the top countries where most people smoke cannabis are Canada, the United States, Denmark, Iceland, like different European countries. Jamaica is actually in the middle or even closer to the bottom of the list with only 9.9%. And if you think that, well, this is because there is no proper records for people in Jamaica, no. That's because a lot of people in Jamaica do not smoke weed. And in fact, they frown upon others who do. I'm not here to tell you whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just giving you facts. You might be surprised to learn that there is still a lot of stigma attached to cannabis in Jamaica, just like in many other countries in the world, even though the reasons in Jamaica are slightly different. I will make a separate full episode on the subject, so don't forget to hit that bell notification icon to make sure you won't miss it. For now, however, I'd like to point out another interesting fact. Just like you assume that everybody smokes weed in Jamaica, they assume that you came to Jamaica to smoke weed. That's why you shouldn't get offended when somebody offers weed to you. So just that, you know. Keep in mind, the locals don't eat brownies. It's just not a thing. And the only reason they can make brownies with cannabis, it's for you, for the tourists. The locals don't use them. As a Jamaican, do let me know, do locals eat brownies with weed? I've never seen that. You can smoke in privacy of your residence or in special areas designated for smoking, like a herb house. But there is a ban on smoking in public places in Jamaica. Some people ignore it and still do it, but just so you know, the fine for smoking ganja in public places is $3.50, while the fine for smoking tobacco in public places is over $70. Please note, many resorts do not allow smoking at all, either ganja or tobacco, while most Airbnbs in Jamaica, if they have a balcony or veranda, would most likely be okay with smoking, since they offer more privacy. But do check in advance with your host if this is something important for you. The next topic I'd like to bring up is something people never ever talk about in any guidebooks. But they should, because Jamaica is a tropical country and humans are not the only creatures who like it nice and warm. The other ones are insects. There are a lot of questions I get about insects in Jamaica. And the first point I want to make very clear: there are no bed bugs in Jamaica. They don't like Jamaican sun and they simply don't survive in this climate. So if you find yourself with a lot of red dots around your legs, that's not from bed bugs. It is probably from sand flea. So if you go to a sandy beach in the middle of the night or right after heavy rain and stick your feet into the sand, you might end up being beaten by sand flea. And the thing is, you will not actually feel that. The next day when you wake up, that's when you're going to see these red dots around your ankles. So to prevent this from happening, don't go to the beach at night. If you do, sit on a towel so you don't stick your feet into the sand. And if you do want to put your feet into the sand, do it where the waves are crashing so that your feet goes into water, and that way sand flea will not get to you. Alternatively, just go to the beach when there is daytime. This is just so that you understand where these red dots come from. These are not mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are active at sunrise and at sunset. If there is sea breeze and you're right by the sea, mosquitoes not really gonna bite you. But if you're somewhere in a garden or in your hotel, walking through the garden, that's where they're gonna find you. So make sure you have your mosquito repellent with you. You can either buy it in Jamaica or bring it with you from your home country. Now, if you're going into rainforest adventure, like to waterfalls and so on, most likely mosquitoes not gonna bite you there because you're gonna be by the waterfalls and mostly in water anyway, and mosquitoes don't really, go for you. It's only the sunset and sunrise that mosquitoes gonna love you the most. But the worst insects in Jamaica are not mosquitoes. These are ants. You know what happens sometimes? You go to a resort, you check in your room, everything's fine, you just lay down on bed, watch TV for like 10 minutes, and then you go to the swimming pool or whatever. You come back and you see your pillow has ants on it. How did that happen? Well, I can tell you how that happened. If you'd been eating fruits and, with your hands, and you didn't wash your hands, and then you touched your pillow with your hand and there was some fruit juice left on your fingers, and it just, went onto your pillow, ants gonna find it. They're like in Tom and Jerry ants, they go like boom, 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 and you can see the trail of them. It's very easy to avoid this situation. Simply keep all your food in the fridge. That's it. And then the trash, just cover the trash with the lid. And yes, make sure to wash your hands and your face before you touch your bed. just in case. Apart from ants, we also have flying cockroaches in tropical countries, and these are kind of harmless, but they're disgusting. That's why you just keep your doors and windows closed, so don't fly into your apartment. There are some bees and wasps. It's not that easy to see them, and they're only active during a certain season. But do make sure if you're allergic that you have your, medicine with you to treat the allergy in case you get bitten. And here I would also like to mention geckos. They are some of the most useful creatures you can imagine. They eat mosquitoes. And that's why if you have geckos in your room, that's a good thing. I do know, however, that there are people who are afraid of geckos. So keep in mind, Jamaica has them. As every single tropical country, you would have, you can't get rid of them. They will always sneak into the room. Nothing to be afraid of, just keep in mind that you will see them. English is the official language in Jamaica. Everybody is going to understand you, so don't worry about that. However, you might find it difficult to understand people in return if they use local language called Jamaican Creole, or like they call it locally, patois. But the thing is, I've seen tourists who come to Jamaica and they're trying to use patois because they think like it's going to be fun. Like there is a phrase, "Ya man," please don't use "ya man" in such a way because it does sound really weird. Sometimes I talk to someone on the phone, "Yeah man, it's good, it's la la la." I don't even notice sometimes that I say it. But it kind of comes naturally because I've been living in this society for quite a while now, and you naturally pick it up. But listen, English is not my native language, okay? My native language is Ukrainian. So now when I'm speaking English, I'm not sure what accent I have. I have all sorts of mixed accent. As a tourist and you come and on the day one you walk around, "Yeah man," doesn't sound nice. Even now, after 7 years, I can't speak proper patois. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to learn, and pronunciation is quite difficult to grasp in order to sound more or less okay when speaking patois. The other thing to know is that you cannot bring your pet to Jamaica. And the reason I'm including this here is because I did have questions from people. "I'm coming with my dog. Can I stay with my dog at your home?" Yes, you can, but you cannot bring it to Jamaica. Any pets are not allowed into Jamaica because Jamaica has no rabies on the island. So if you're coming from the United States, you cannot bring your dog. Theoretically, you can bring your pets from the UK or even from the US, but they have to stay in a special place for 6 months, and it's the whole another different story. However, you can bring a pet from Jamaica to anywhere in the world. Like if you like a dog and you want to adopt a dog in Jamaica, you can do so. Just so you know. Tap water is safe to drink. Just drink it. But talking about water, sparkling water is not common in Jamaica. You can find it in shops, Perrier or Highlander, these couple of brands. You can get soda water too. But that's about it. Number 43, you can eat street food, and you should eat street food. Street food is fabulous in Jamaica. So if you see these guys selling jerk chicken or any other local dishes outside in the street, the next thing, do not buy made in China souvenirs. You will find that a lot of shops will offer these magnets, these t-shirts, like all sorts of things. A lot of them are not made in Jamaica. So if you want to buy true Jamaican goods, go for things that are authentic, either crafted in Jamaica or grown in Jamaica. Just check out my video, which is called Things to Bring from Jamaica, and it covers the whole authentic goods that you can get from Jamaica as the best souvenirs. Wi-Fi and internet. This is a very common question. Yes, there is Wi-Fi in Jamaica. Yes, there is internet. Now, how fast is it? The fastest internet you can get is in Kingston. So if you're staying in a hotel or in an Airbnb in Kingston, most likely you're going to get really nice quality internet. Now, the second place where the internet is pretty fast is Montego Bay. But keep in mind that in resorts, the coverage kind of jumpy. So sometimes you would have really strong internet, Wi-Fi connection, in the lobby, maybe in some parts of your room, but not everywhere. If you book Airbnb, the internet connection there can actually be much stronger than in a resort. If you want to be sure, just ask your host or your resort about the internet. Now, when you're going to Jamaica, make sure you have some data plan. Like, you can either get roaming so that you can use your data in Jamaica. Alternatively, you can just buy a local SIM card, which can be cheaper to use, better to buy Digicel. You will need your ID and you're good to go. Just make sure you top it up so that you have some data to use. But do keep in mind, some of the American phones are locked, so you will not be able to get a Jamaican SIM card into your American phone. So make sure your phone isn't locked. Electricity is very expensive in Jamaica. The reason I'm telling you that is because there is a cultural aspect in the United States. People just walk around, they can get the light on in their apartment and never turn it off. In Jamaica, if you're staying with locals, keep this in mind. And if you don't want the locals to have like extremely high bills, just make sure to turn off electricity each time you leave the apartment. When you're inside, it's fine. But when you're not inside, leaving the AC for the whole day for no reason makes no sense. So just make sure you turn it off when you're not inside. Jamaica is one of the most expensive countries when it comes to electricity. Just so you know. Number 48, booking things in advance. You don't need to book restaurants in advance in Jamaica. I know it is common in other countries. In Jamaica, you would only need to do that if you are planning a large group. Then yes, you can book it in advance. Other than that, if it's just two of you going to have dinner, just go to the restaurant and have dinner. As simple as that. I mean, you might want to call and check if the restaurant is open on that day, and that's about it. As for booking tours in advance, if you're booking things on websites, you can surely book tours in advance on websites like Airbnb experiences and things like that. But in general, most tours in Jamaica can be booked just a day in advance. There is no such thing like in certain countries where you have to book a ticket to be able to get to some place like half year in advance. There is nothing like that in Jamaica. So, and this brings me to the very last point. Things to do in Jamaica. There are a lot of things you can do. Much more things than you can even imagine. Because most people, they come to Jamaica, they come for the beach. But of course, the beach is not even close to being the best thing you can do in Jamaica. So I do have a separate video that is called 100 Things to Do in Jamaica. It puts activities into different categories and shows you which places to visit. So please check it out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video has been useful. If you'd like more tips and more information about traveling to Jamaica, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like if you found it useful. My name is Irina, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.